Hi everyone, welcome back to In the Chair with Sarah. This week, I'm giving you inside information on wigs. Did you know that most of the wigs you see on the Winsphere stage are actually made by hand tying hair by hair into a foundation lace? But even once you have a wig in your hands, there's a long process to go through before it's stage ready, involving creating a character and coming up with a plan, getting a crew together that can pull it off. To show you how it's done, I'm passing it over to Dawn Rivard, wig and makeup designer for the Dallas Opera.
Whatever that look is on stage is 100%, 100%, because there is a good team working backstage. It's the magic of opera that everything has to work in sync or nothing works. Before we even get a performer in the chair, before we show up in the theater, I, as head of the department, collect all kinds of information from everybody. Budgets from the company, designs from the designer and the costume director, previous productions, information from the performer itself, whether they've done the role or not, what their expectations are, what they might allude to. And then my job is to make sure that when we do our fitting process, that all of that gets considered and talked about and worked through as much as possible, so that once that information gets distilled down to a point, that the appropriate information gets given to Dallas Opera's wig and makeup crew. Because without them, an opera doesn't happen. So I collect all this information, some of it being, historical photos of what people look like in the actual time period. And then we take the actor's headshot and what do they look like and what do they have to put on their head? Do they have to wear a hat? Do they have to wear a veil at some point? It probably has to get attached to their head. How are we going to attach it? So all of those logistics get worked out before we even get a performer in our chair. Because every production is a new production. Even if it's La Boheme, it's been done a million times, it doesn't matter. It hasn't been done with this costume designer. It hasn't been done on this set. It hasn't been done with this director. It hasn't been done with this singer. Sometimes you end up with 2 or 3 principal singers that have done a Boheme together. Maybe they've even been on that set, but did they have those same costumes? Did they have the same director? And they're at a different point vocally as well and in life. So there's all these variables with opera, which for our department makes it the hardest industry to work in. I always say it to my crew, if you are a wig and makeup person and you are successful in opera, you are creme de la creme. Because not only do you have to be able to do amazing things, you have only 120 minutes. We have 120 minutes pre-curtain to get all these people ready. That's insane. And there's no cuts. There's no hold because we have to redo that again. It runs. It's insane. Why do we do it? Basically start with this before we style a wig. It's true. Somebody's head mold, pat it out because this head form is not really their head shape. You can see there's still kind of room in here. That gets patted out with tissue or cotton, or lots of people do different things. And then we try a wig on this to make sure it's going to be close to fitting them. This was made for this singer, so yes, it's going to fit. But if I put this wig that's made for this head shape, this person's head shape, on another block that's not their head, it's no bueno, right? Like there's no way that I could never put this wig or try to have this wig in a fitting ready for this performer, because it's not going to work. Because head shapes and hairlines are all different. There's lots to talk about in our department. There should be 1,000,000 episodes on wigs and makeup. Historical reference, there's taking into account the performer, there's taking into account the budget, there's taking into account what the director's vision is and what the costumes, you know, if it's a new design, then hopefully the director and the designer have collaborated and they are in sync, and you know, we can just run off of one of them. But if it's a director and their rental costumes, then we're reinventing the wheel. We're figuring it out and trying to make a singer comfortable, because if a singer isn't comfortable, people, they can't sing. And what it takes for one singer to be comfortable is not what it takes another singer to be comfortable. Some singers want to be more involved in this process. Some are like, just turn me into the character. Just make it happen magically. I don't want to be involved in it. I want to go do my music. So there's lots of layers. And then we get to the point that we get a performer in our chair and we try a bunch of wigs on that are close to fitting and close to what that character is. She's going to be a redhead. She's going to be a brunette. She's going to be a blonde. We have a bunch of that lined up. We run through them with the singer, you know, initially, so that they have an idea of where we're going. We narrow it down to a couple. We put it on a block. We set that wig. We comb it out. We have something to try on them, maybe in a costume fitting, so that we can kind of see the total picture and the performer kind of sees the evolution of this character as well, because they have to pull it off. Sometimes they don't see that wig with the costume until the first dress rehearsal as well, but we try to give them as much info as we can beforehand out of professional courtesy, because that's what we would want. And while all of that is going on, all this information is getting relayed to this A crew. And that's what they have to be. Because if you've loved seeing what you see on the Dallas Opera, and you believe these characters and you get involved with them, good, bad, or indifferent emotionally, then the crew has pulled it off. And that's our dream, is to, you know, make you believe that these people on stage are those characters, and for you not to see a styled wig. We just want you to think, we want you to be shocked when you see them at stage door and be like, oh, you're not a blonde? That's our objective all the time, is to make people shocked and turn them into something totally different but believable. And I hope we can get back to it soon. We miss you guys.